Hey everyone, what's up? Here we are. I figured I haven't made a powder coating video in a while, so here's another one. Want to see what we're doing this time? Stick around, I'll show you. Hey everyone, so you want to know what we're doing? Well, this one's kind of, it's an irritating one. We all go out, we all spend our money, and every part we ever want to get done or painted or spend our money on, you want quality work. Well, this customer, he's been really good. He brought me a lot of his smaller parts. We got them powder coated, did up the springs for his bike, but his frame wasn't that bad, so he wanted to find someone that could do it and just kind of do spot fixing on it, repaint the rusty areas, and make it halfway decent looking again. So he found a guy that did it, and well, that guy did a horrible job. So now we've got the frame here that he wants us to fix. So the part I'm irritated with on this is just how poorly a finish this person did, and actually charged the customer for that amount of money. I'm not sure what he charged. I don't know the shop that did it, but however, in the end, it's not good. So what we have is we have a 1986 Honda TRX 250 frame, front suspension and rear suspension. So here we are. There it is. From about 20 feet away, it looks good. You start getting up close, and I'll show you what we have. You can see all that texture. The shop that did the work. You see it down there. All kinds up in here. And I mean, there's just, I don't even know how to talk about this. You can see all the streaks along here. It looks like they used a paintbrush for that. On the bottom side, the top side, completely full of sand everywhere. The rear swing arm and rear axle, same thing, all kinds of sand embedded there. And again, they just painted on, looks like they painted over top of half of the old stuff just to make it look nice. But there you can see runs, you can see paint marks. So I'm not bashing the customer by any stretch on this one. I mean, everybody wants to be able to work within a budget, don't want to have to worry about spending thousands just to get it done. And but this guy, whoever did the paint work, should probably put the paintbrush down. And so enough of that. Now it's time for us to see about making this thing right. So first thing we've got to do is we've got to take a lot of it apart. On the frame there was still the steering wheel lock and the helmet lock on it, and the steering stem still in it, so we got to pull that apart, pull out the bearings, and then get that ready for coating. And then the front suspension, there's a couple pivot points on there, we got to take them apart and then disassemble the whole rear end. So that's what we're going to get started on, and make this look different. So stick around till the end, you'll see what it looks like. Let me know what you think of it in the end, and let me know what you think of this guy's paintwork. Like I said, I don't know who it was. I'm not going to ask either. So let's just make it right for this customer. So stick around. Alright, so here we are, still continuing on with this TRX 250. We got the front end starting to be taken apart. I've got the front hubs off. and they come off pretty easy. You have the steering arm at the top, and then you have a grease fitting at the bottom. You take out that grease fitting, you pop off this little grease, this little rubber washer right here, the dust shield, and then the whole thing kind of taps out. So it drives out through to the top, and once you get that out, it comes off of this control arm here. Just ignore my mess. There's a little pinhole right there. That is where this bolt goes, and that locks everything in place. Make sure not to lose any of the parts. So then here we are, rubbing along this sandpaper that he painted over. That's the only thing I could think of at this point, because even here for this, you could tell he just painted over top of everything, grease included, because that's what I'm flaking off right there. Just painted over the grease. So I'm going to finish taking this apart. I got a lot of grease there on the edge. I've got to wipe off and get that so it's taken apart, and then we can start with the sandblasting on that tomorrow, and hopefully make this look like it's supposed to. Bring it back to life. So I'll be right back. Hey everyone, thanks for sticking around. As you've been watching, we're still working on this 86 TRX 250. After a little bit of research, it's not the 250R that a lot of people think of. It's more of a utility style four-wheeler, and that's why it has that different front suspension with those weird control arms. However, I'm just working on the rear axle right now, and as you can see, we've got it somewhat taken apart. And I can honestly say I'm surprised over one thing. I found one spot of paint that's actually pretty smooth, right there. It's not much, but it's also got neighboring runs right next to it, and go to the other side where they touched it and you got like 120 grit sandpaper. So we're still making things look good here. I've got the hubs and everything off now, so as you can see, we're getting ready to take everything else here apart. I'm going to do up these just because they got to be done. I can't go this far and not do that piece as well. So now we're getting ready to take apart our rear axle here, this rear drum system, and then we'll be able to unbolt everything right there and be able to get this whole midsection out. So, and then hopefully everything will be all good to go, and we'll get her painted, we'll get her sandblasted and powder coated tomorrow, if I could talk tonight. So, but here I am looking at it, and I mean, I'm even seeing right here, like that's pure dirt. Like he painted over the dirt too. So, yeah. I don't know what to say about it anymore, but we're going to make it right for him. Make it look good, proper, and give him a product. He's actually going to be great to drive around. I'm going to be happy with it and look good. So I'm going to get back taking this drum apart, and you stay tuned. Be right back. Hey everyone, thanks for sticking around. As you've been watching, we've been working on this 86 TRX 250 frame, suspension and stuff. We have a lot of it sandblasted now. We got rid of all that nasty paint that was on there. Actually, I don't even know if I want to call it paint. I think it was more sandpaper that was painted over. But, however, in having said that, we got a lot of it sandblasted. Still got to get the frame done. But the suspension and everything, we got that going. all done up, all sandblasted. And some of it, like the rear axle housing that I showed you in the beginning, that was definitely done by a paintbrush, because as I'm sandblasting you could see the paintbrush streaks as I went. However, the good news is some of them are no longer there. This here we have our gray zinc primer, which is a must because these are all steel parts. But you can see no 60 grit sandpaper. Nice and smooth, a lot of brackets. They're all good to go. So now we're going to turn around and we're going to start spraying some of the satin black for these parts and start getting them done and put back on the bike. So stick around, here we go. Hey everyone, thanks for sticking around. I've started taking apart parts of this frame, and it gets better as I go. Not only do they paint over some 60 grit sandpaper, but I'm even looking at some of this stuff here, and I don't know if you can see it, but it's just, they didn't even bother wiping off anything. So it's, I don't know if it could get much worse. Sand everywhere, sand in this, sand in that, not wiping off. Paint over the sand, paint over the dirt. I could keep going on and on forever with this, I guess. However, I'm not going to. So we took the steering stem out, got to get that all cleaned up. Still got to take this steering lock out of there, but once we get that out, then we'll be ready to give it a good sandblasting. Make sure this area here is all covered and clean, and get ready to put it all back together once it's all coated. So speaking of that, we just finished up a load of the first parts. They are still a little toasty warm, so I'm not taking them out yet. But I will show you what we have. Nice and smooth. No more 60 grit sandpaper under there. As you can see, I've got my silicone plugs. That's all taped off, so those surfaces are good. But you can see how everything's nice and smooth. So now, once that's all cooled off enough, we're going to pull them out, put the next load of parts in, and hopefully start getting this thing back together and get it back to the customer so we can put it back together and hopefully make use of it, either riding it or using it as decoration. But who knows? We'll see what happens at that point. But in the meantime, I've got to go do some more sandblasting. And it's about 30 degrees outside, so it really sucks. So you sit back with the air conditioning, have a drink, hit that subscribe button, and just know that I'm out there sweating, sandblasting, sand going everywhere. Sounds fun. You can come do it if you want, but if not, sit back, enjoy the rest of this video, hit that subscribe button, see if I can't grow this even more, and I'll be back, so stick around. Alright, so as you saw, I'm still working on the frame. I got looking on the bottom side, which I haven't looked at yet. So, I got looking at it. And now, you can really start to see all the brush strokes going along here, along with the sand. But you can even see all the, let's see if I can't get some light in there on that a little better for you. But you can see how where he stopped with the paintbrush, and yeah, it's kind of hard to really see there, but you can see That's a little darker color there. Then you can see the brush strokes there. And the thing I like, can make it real easy for me to, I'm sitting here peeling the paint off. And to think, somebody actually charged somebody money for this. So again, if you're thinking about getting some work done, getting some powder coating done, or even paint, and somebody comes up and says, oh yeah, no, I can do that cheaper. Well, this is cheaper. This is what you get. So if you want to have a decent quality work, I'm not saying go spend millions of dollars, but just because something does cost a little extra doesn't mean it's not worth it. This customer, sadly, he's paying twice to have that frame done because he got kind of suckered in on someone that said they could do it and they couldn't deliver. So I feel bad for him, but we're just gonna have to make it right and let him get past this whole ordeal and make his bike look proper again. So again, if you're gonna do something, make sure that whoever you take it to does it right. Even ask them, how are you gonna do it? Are you gonna strip it down? Are you gonna sandblast it, prime it? What are you doing? What's the process? Do a little research and hopefully save yourself some headache and problems. So with that, now I'm going to go sandblast that frame and get it ready to be powder coated. So stick around, I'll be back. Alright, thanks for sticking around. I have something to show you now. I got first load of parts are done. I just did a small batch, but still decent amount. Here we are. This is what the front suspension pivots on. And you can see, let's get out in some sunshine. No more 60 grit. The ends are kept clean. Threads are all nice. So therefore, should be pretty much ready to go back together. Same as we have some of our axle tubes. The ends are all cleaned up. All the gaskets, or O-ring in this case, is put back together. But again, nice and smooth. No 60 grit sandpaper. And I don't know if you remember what one of these control arms looked like, but it looks a whole lot better. And the pivot points and stuff for the steering, that's all clean. In there where the bearings go, that's all kept clean. Only thing dirty right now is probably a little bit of fingerprints on it from me handling it, taking the tape off and stuff. So now we've got the second batch in, and that should allow me to put the rear axle and the whole front suspension back together. And then all we have left is finish up the frame, which I have been working on. It's a little hot out there today for me to push too hard on the sandblasting, so I'm taking a break. But no, now all we need to do is get the rest of those parts going. So I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to let you go hit that subscribe button, drop a comment, let me know what you think, and I'm going to get back to work. So here we go. Hey everyone, thanks for sticking around. We are still continuing on with our this TRX 250 frame. We have all sandblasted, and now we just we got everything all masked off, plugged up. All the bearings are covered over so nothing gets in them. All kinds of nuts, bolts, you name it. As much as I like doing these old frames, there's just countless spots for nuts, bolts, screws. But that's why they lasted instead of plastic clips. So, as you see, we have the frame, we got the steering stem here, got all that wrapped in tin foil to hopefully keep it clean. And we've got the top of the steering head over there. So now, it's a a matter of turn things on, get the heat going, outgas it, give it another clean up, and then we're going to get some primer to it and get the satin black and have it finished off, and I could put everything else back together and give it back to the customer. So I'm going to go melt some more in this temperature. Today it's around 29 degrees with no wind, and I don't even want to know what it is here in the shop, but I'm going to push through. So while you do, I think me working out in the heat here, I think that deserves at least one like, or if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button, stick around, and see what else I do. So till then, I'm gonna get this going, and you stick around. I'll be right back. Alright, so as you were seeing, we were getting the frame and a couple other little pieces ready for powder. What we've done is we now have the frame with a nice coat of zinc primer on it. We cleaned it all up, as you saw earlier. All kinds of little silicone caps to plug everything. Everything's all there, nice and smooth. No 60 grit finish on this. Not yet anyway. Still have to put down the color. Who knows? Maybe I'll only make it 120 grit. Nah, can't do that. So I'm gonna go get our Encore Nordson gun, or Nordson Encore gun, I guess, and get that loaded up with some satin black. Get this frame all sprayed out, and get ready to show you what it looks like when it's done. Get everything together and let the customer come get it, and see if I can't get over this blistering hot we have. Like I said earlier, we're sitting at 29, hardly any wind. I don't know what it actually really feels like, but it's hot. And with this oven going all day, doesn't make it any better either. So enough of that. I know you don't want to hear me complain about the heat. It is summer. I'm sure there's places that are a lot hotter than here. So I'm going to get spraying some powder and get this going. Stick around. Be right back. Hey everyone, how's it going today? As you've been watching, we've been working on this 86 250 TXR utility four-wheeler. The frame, that was bad. I mean, if you saw the beginning, saw all the sand that was in the finish that they did, it was bad. However, we worked our magic, sandblasted it, cleaned it all up, primed it, coated it, and now we have this. It looks a lot better. Along the top edge, you saw before, there was lots of sand. Now there's none. All the threaded holes were kept clean, including these ones that I still got to pull the plugs out of. You have a nice selection of silicone style plugs that plug up all the threads to keep them clean from the powder and everything. So this here, it looks so much better than it did before. So now, make sure I got all the plugs, the silicone caps and stuff out of there. Now I can put the front suspension pieces back together, and I'll show you how that goes. And we also got the steering stem to put back together. We coated that up nicely as well, so it just kind of blends in. But as you can see, we didn't do the bearing race or the shaft itself, because that probably wouldn't work out very good, especially on the bearing surface. And these bearings, they're kind of annoying. They're just the balls, so I gotta load them with grease, put them in place, put the shaft back in, and hope everything goes together nice. So while I get ready to do that, you sit back and enjoy the show. Be right back. Hey everybody. So we're putting the front suspension back together on this TRX 250 utility. And it's a very simple idea. So what you have is you've got the center section here that bolts to the frame, and then you have your control arms that come out, and your shocks mounted to it, and then your front spindles, and they just kind of pivot in there. Now, this control arm slides over this, and there's a little rubber grease seal on the inside. So when you put it together, make sure you just put a coat of grease on the bearing surface and the shaft as well, and on that seal. Everything slides together beautifully, and when you put the bolt in on the side, you have this lock retaining washer. You have an actual thick washer. Now they are keyed and they go into a little groove on the shaft, and then this gets tightened down, and then once it's all tightened down, we're going to throw a grease fitting in here, or a Zerk fitting as some people like to call them, and then we're going to pump some new grease into it and it'll be ready to go. And once we get this tightened down, we'll be locking it down with bending these tabs over, and the customer will be all set, ready to go to put this back on the frame. So, guess what I'm going to go do? I'm going to go torque them down and get them going. So, stick around. Hey everyone, one thing I did forget to make mention of is for this control arm bolting to here, that torque, according to the good old interweb, is 51 foot-pounds. So we're not going to torque this down yet. We've got it snugged up, but it'll be so much easier for the customer when he puts the front back on the frame to actually torque it down properly with it bolted on the frame, which it's going to bolt right here, right on the very front edge of it. So we got it snugged up all together, everything moves nicely. So all he's going to have to do is, once he bolts it to the frame, give it a final torque and away you go. We also, what you didn't see yet is we put the hubs back on, and they just come out with this one pin here. Take the pin out, take the bottom grease fitting off, and that shaft pops right out. Very easy, quick, simple. So now that I have that done, now I got to put that steering stem back in and see if I can't figure out how to get all the balls to line up in a row. So I'm going to go do that, and I'll show you what we get. So stick around. Alright everyone, so here is the final product. There's the rear controls, rear swing arm. You can see it's a whole lot better looking than it was. There's the entire front control arm with your steering knuckles on it. And then we got the frame. So much better. And that is why you gotta make sure whoever you take stuff to does quality work. As you saw earlier, here's our steering shaft. Everything there is all been kept clean, so you don't have to, it's not going to bind up or be a problem when you go to put it back together. We've got our headlight bracket piece. As you see, we got the helmet lock back in it, but I don't know how well you can see that. There we go. Splines have been kept clean, so when that goes and sits right on top of our steering shaft, it's not going to bind up either. Same with these foot pegs. The shaft where the brake lever goes, clean. The adjusting bolt, clean. Everything else all coated up. So while if you take your parts to a powder coater and they give you a price and you're thinking to yourself, wow, that seems a little expensive. Not in every case, but in a lot of cases that price is because there's a lot of work to it. This one here, between the masking off, taking stuff apart, degreasing everything, putting it all back together, getting it ready, making sure all the holes are plugged, making sure the prep work is done right, it gets to be quite time consuming, and as with everything, time is money. So while you may look online, see that powder costs 20 bucks for a pound and use less than a pound, that's not where the cost is. The cost is in the actual work of making sure the job's done proper. 90% of the job is prep, and if that's not done right, then your finish may not be right, as you saw at the start of the video with this one here. I don't know what the customer is going to continue to do about that horrible job, but he doesn't have to look at it anymore, so now he can come pick this stuff up here. He's supposed to be here in the next hour to get his stuff, and they can put the bike back together and make use of it. So with that having said, I'm going to get working on the next job. I do have a couple sets of rims here that I'm probably going to make a video of at least one of them, and then I got a few other jobs that I've got on the go. I got another stereo that's coming to me that's in a Jeep Wrangler that the customer who he bought it from really destroyed the interior panels of the car. So hopefully I can do something and make it work and put it back together so it's actually like it's supposed to be, or make it look somewhat reasonable. And then I'm also going to be getting back on my RX-7 project, start getting that going. So if you want to see more on the RX-7 project, there is a link in the description below to the playlist of what we've already started on it. I got to finish getting the rims completed so we can get them back on the car, and then I can start working on the rear axle, get that pulled, get it powder coated, new control arms, get the fuel pump wired and everything else, because I have some big plans for it, and hopefully I can start making them happen soon. So, in having said that, I'm going to get back to work. You go hit that subscribe button, drop a comment, or go check out my RX-7 videos, or even my other videos I have up as well. And until next time, remember to keep it loud and stay warm.